You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife backed the wrong horse. Sycophant-in-chief is the improbably named plastic-faced lieutenant, Omid Scobie, a rather unusual individual who has sought to eke out a career of sticking his head up the backside of Harry's wife and engaging in arselickery on a scale that perhaps has not been witnessed for quite some time. He regularly tweets in support of Harry's wife and pumps out misinformation on her behalf. He is a non-intimate secondary source in Harry's wife's fuel matrix, and it is clear from the reading of Finding Dollars, Funding Freedom that he had close involvement with Harry's wife. If you'd enjoy being entertained by my parody of that, you can go to the Knowledge Vault and obtain selected excerpts from the book, which will have you rolling in the aisles and thinking, oh goodness me, I need to change my underwear. I've wet myself through laughing at what HG has to say about all of this. It also demonstrates that essentially Harry's wife said, here you are, Omid, here are my diaries. Just use those to pump out a story that makes me look good. And he said, I'll do that. I'll involve Carolyn Durand, although now Carolyn has vanished from the face of the planet as a consequence of her daily shame at being involved in such a waste of time that publication was. She fell by the wayside, but Scobie didn't. He's ploughed on, continuing to be the lapdog. Although he's repeatedly accused of being a cheerleader, he denied this when he recently gave evidence in one of the court cases, only to then engage in cheerleading behaviour immediately afterwards, showing that he's also a hypocrite. He's well known on Twitter for when somebody comments adversely about him, he effectively has a huff and blocks them. But it would appear that the plastic-faced lieutenant is perhaps starting to wake up to the realization that he has backed the wrong horse. I understand that he has a book coming out a little later this year called Endgame, thinking that he's going to make some dosh as a consequence of his arse-licking relationship with the Sussexes. But it might be that this has all gone wrong for him even before it's printed. It would appear that Yahoo don't want anything more to do with him. His bio reads, Omid Scobie, Royal Executive Editor. Omid Scobie is a London-based journalist and author. His New York Times best-selling biography on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Finding Freedom, remains the fastest-selling royal book in almost 2 decades. There's an asterisk next to that, but I think the asterisk would be that Spare's overtaken it anyway, and has seen Scobie become the most talked-about royal correspondent of this generation. Well, that's probably true, but it's generally the case that people talk about him for 2 reasons. 1, his appearance, looking like some kind of Ken doll, and 2, the fact that he is the mouthpiece of the Sussexes, churning out a load of old shite. Today he remains an authoritative voice on the lives and philanthropic endeavours of the British royal family, and can be regularly seen on American television as a royal contributor for Good Morning America and ABC News. He was Yahoo News UK Royal Executive Editor from 2022 to 23. He's lost that gig. Has he backed off? Have they kicked him out? Who knows? Who cares? But he's not doing it any longer. And it may well be the case that, of course, he has ended up backing the wrong horse. As the SS Sussex start to sink beneath the waves, strapped to the wheel is Omid Scobie, frantically trying to say, it's going to be okay, it's just a squall that we're sailing through. As they take on more and more water, and it all goes horribly wrong. So Yahoo are no longer involved with him, but it doesn't end there. It's also the case that he's no longer royal editor-at-large for Harper's Bazaar. It doesn't demonstrate, at a search at Harper's Bazaar, that he remains the royal editor there. He appears to have lost that status as well. So it's not going particularly well for the plastic-faced lieutenant. He is left with very little. He hasn't got the gig at Yahoo. He hasn't got Harper's. What's he got? Well, he's got his book coming out, but that might not even matter, because what happens if, as is suspected, there is the separation of the Sussexes ahead of that? It renders, really, his publication pretty redundant. It might be that he could find some gainful employment as a paid sugar, that he receives a sum into his bank account to go onto social media and bang on in the favour of Harry's wife and attacking Catherine and William, etc. So, if he's paid by the number of posts that he can generate, seeing he's been relieved of duties at Yahoo and he's also been relieved of duties at Harper's Bazaar, he's probably got a lot more time on his hands. It might be as well that if he doesn't spend as much time looking in the mirror and considering what next cosmetic surgery he will undertake, that could free up some more time for him also. It appears that he's become very much persona non grata with regard to the royal family, which gives him a paucity of information to rely upon. And now he's been riding on getting this new book out. It's apparent that when you listen to Omid Scobie, he likes to pretend that he's posh, that he tries to portray himself as something that he's actually not. And we know from past history that he started off on Heat, and he's nobody of real note. Basically, as I noted one person had commented, he's the royal executive editor of his Twitter feed. He enhances his own position. He wants to be more than he actually is. And back in the day, he strapped himself to the Sussex horse thinking, yes, she's wonderful, she's radiant. They're going to modernise the royal family. Oh, never mind, that hasn't worked, but it's okay, because they've been so badly treated and I sympathise so much with them. I'll do anything for Harry's wife just to look in my direction, for her to acknowledge my existence. Harry, of course, memorably stated that he was aware of Omid Scobie, showing the contempt that the gruesome twosome have for him. He is quite simply Harry's wife's mouthpiece, and he has been from the days of her involvement with Soho House. The fact is that he has backed the wrong horse, and that horse has run in the wrong direction. And it's probably going to fall at the next fence and find its way onto the glue factory. He's fouquet'd, to use the technical phrase, and like so many other people that are involved with Harry's wife, what comes along but the SADIM touch? Everything she touches turns to shit, and it's also infected the plastic-faced, improbably named Lieutenant Omid Scobie. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.